Everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we will together solve the daily LeetCode problem. And so today problem we have the designing problem, that is like the design of food rating system. And so I think that this problem is like it is very interesting because like it has so many kind of the practical aspects. Yeah, so I think that the most important thing we have in here is that like all the string in the foods are distinct. So this means that like we can like trace back the data efficiently. Otherwise, this problem will be very difficult. Yeah, so that is the first thing. And then so we in this problem we will sacrifice the memory for the computational resource, and then it can speed up our program. Yeah, so let's go through it together. So firstly, like I just put my design here. However, like you just like need to ignore about it at the moment, and then we will go back to this later. However, like for example, so in here like we are required to do two things. The first one is that like we need to build the chain rating, and then I think that the critical task is to return the highest rated. And then so to implement this one, so because like for each food, and then it will associate with the the cuisine and the rate. And then in here like for example like that we can consider as the streaming data, and then to return the highest rate. And then somehow we need something like the priority queue. And yeah, so that is the approach. However, that is not only the place we use the priority queue, and we can also use the priority queue in another place as well. Yeah, so with that mindset, and then so somehow like we can build the data structure like this. For example, like in here, I will have two hash map. The first one is like the food hash map, and the second one will be the cuisine hash map. And then so in here, we can see that like for example in here for because like we need to return the highest rated, right, highest rated food. And then that is the reason why in here I will create something like I will put all of the ratings for each food in the in one and in one heap, and then I can retrieve it easily. For example, like in here with the rating of 9, and then like in here we will have the heap, that is the rate. So in here like because in the Python we typically has the min heap, and that is the reason why we can transform it into the max heap using the minus operation. Yeah, so for example like in here for the Korean cuisine, and then somehow like we will have the all of the rates. For example, like in here with the given data, the Korean, that would be like the kimchi and the bulgogi. And then for these two things we have they associate with the rates of 9 and 7 respectively. And in here like we if we push everything into the min heap, and then we can see that like the highest rate that would be the kimchi. And then however like how can we trace back the data, I mean that how can we connect the rate with respect to the kimchi, or that is the food. And then I will create like the hash map to do that, like in here. So for example like in here we have the kimchi, and then it is associated with the rating like 9, and then the bulgogi, that is the 7. So why do we need that? For example like in here, what if I have another food, for example that is the rice, and I mean the steamed rice, and then that is the Korean, for example. And then so in here that would be like 9 as well. And then just let's see how is updated. And then so you can see that in here like because that is the kimchi and the rice, it is they are associated with the rating of 9. Why it does? Because like in here we also have the one requirement that like if we have multiple foods, if they are associated with the same rating, and then we need to return the one with the uh, lexicographically smaller name. So that is the reason why. So in here like if you can construct these things, and then the things will be much easier. So you can see that in here we have the first heap that is in the rate, and the second heap is in the name of the food, right? Okay, so let's together we define the data structure. Firstly, like we just have the food hash map, right? The food hash map, and then so you can see that like we do not use it at the moment, but it will be very useful later. And then in the food hash map here, that would be the key of the food hash map, that would be the food. And then what is the value for this one? That would be the cuisine and the rate, I mean the rating, right? Okay, so here that is the first our very first like hash map. And the second one I want to build is that like I have the cuisine hash map. For this cuisine hash map, firstly like we will have the, I mean that like the key of this one, of course that is a cuisine, right? For example, this cuisine is, that would be the Korean, that could be the Japanese, that could be the Vietnamese, that could be the Australian. Yeah, so for this one, and then it will come because like in here that each cuisine will be a key value in here, so we have some multiple cuisines. Yeah, so in here for each cuisine we will typically define the rates. For example, in here that will store all of the ratings for these cuisines, right? All of the ratings. And then the second attribute of this one, that would be the that would be the rate, right? Because we have the rating in here, we need somehow like to connect to the rate, and each rate in here that will associate with the food, right? We can have multiple food in here. Okay, so you can see that in here like we can have the data structure. And then so where's the heap? Because like in here for each cuisine we need to retrieve the highest rating, so this one could be the first heap. And for each rate, and then for example like if or maybe some of the foods they share the same rate, and then like we need to return the smaller lexicographically name, right? So in here that would be another heap, right? Okay, so how the heap can help us. Yeah, so let's say that in here just remove the rice first, and then we will work with something like the Japanese. And then I think the Japanese is yeah, I think I like the Japanese food. Yeah, so let's say that in here like we have the Japanese, that is the ramen with the rate of 14. And then we have the miso, we have the sushi. Yeah, so in here these are all the rate for each food. Yeah, however like what if in here, so the case will be what if we update the rate of the sushi, the ramen for example. Currently that is the 14, right? And then let's say that for now we update that would be just like the 13. What if that is the 13, and then that would be like the ramen, and then we will have the Japanese, and then in here that is 13. Okay, okay, so here you can see that firstly you need we can notice that in here like every time we update the food, and then we also update the rating and the rating for that food as well. For example, like in here I have the sushi, right? I have the sushi in here. So I have the ramen in here, right? Previously they are 14th. However, like for now it is updated at the 13th. So what is the meaning of the food hash map in here? The food hash map in here, it helps us to store the ground truth value. However, like in the cuisine hash map, because we store all the things, so this one will contain the redundant data. Okay, so how can we deal with this problem? What if I call the data that like what if I want to retrieve the highest ranking for the Japanese, for example? Okay, so in here we can see that like we have the and okay, so we just update another things. For example, let's say that we have the rice. We have the rice for the Japanese as well. And then so here like we also put this as the 13th. Okay, sushi, sushi, sushi Japanese, and 13th. Okay, so in here like we can see like this one is the heap, this one is a heap, and how can we deal this with this case, right? What is the expected return value? That it would be the ramen. Yeah, so how can we use the priority queue in here? Firstly, we can see that like with this one, and then we can, for example, like for the Japanese, right? When we receive the query about give me the highest rating for the Japanese, and then you can get this data. And with this data, firstly we look into the rates. We look into the rates, and then because the rate is it is currently the hash map. Sorry, that is the priority queue. And then so firstly in this one, that would be the from minus what 40 minus 13th, and then yeah, minus 13th, and minus 12, and minus 8, right? Okay, so firstly we just simply take the first element. I mean that we do not remove it from the heap, but we compare and we get the top element of the heap first, and then we can see that like okay 14, so more minus 14, right? Because this one is a max heap, and then we can transform it into the rate, but that is a 14. And how can we use this 14? With this 14, we map this one into the food. For example, this one is a 14, right? And then we can see the food, that is the ramen. Okay, so this is the food, and also of course we know the cuisine, that is the Japanese. Okay, so for now we can see that we have the Japanese, ramen, and the rate of 14. However, like if we need to check this value, we need to validate this data, and then we compare this one with the data in the food hash map, because the food hash map will it stores the ground truth data. And then we can see that in here like there is an incorrect information, that is the rate, that is the 13th. Okay, so it means that like this data is outdated, right? And because this is outdated, and then we can remove it from the heap. We can remove it from the heap. Yeah, in here like because this is outdated, so we can completely remove this one from the heap, and then we just pop it out of the heap, right? Because like I said that like that is our rating, and then using the ratings in here, that is a heap, and then we just need to pop the top of the heap, right? Okay, so we can remove this one, and now the top of the heap, that would be 13th. Okay, so what is the 13th? The 13 in here, that is what? That 13 in here, and when we map back to here, and then we can see the ramen, and then we check with the food hash map in here. So okay, so we can see that that is the yeah. So because like this one is also the heap, because like I also use the heap in here, right? That this one is also the heap, so we just need to get the top of the heap. In this case, that is the ramen, and then the sushi here, right? And then we just need to get the top of the heap in here, and then we can see the ramen. And then what is our result? Our results would be like 13th, ramen, and Japanese. And then so we compare with the food hash map in here, right? We can compare with the food hash map, and then we can see that with the food hash map in here, the ramen, the information for the ramen is exactly correct. So it means that this, we just need to return this value, right? We just need to return this value. Okay, so in here like this strategy works, and then with this design, I can do it on my very first hit, and then I success on my very first submission this morning. Yeah, so yeah, let me share our implementation for you guys. So this is the idea. How can we implement it? And for now, we will together code the implementations. So here, like for us, like we need two hash maps, right? And the first one, that would be like the cuisine hash map, and then like that is the Yeah, and another one that would be like the food hash map, right? And then so for now we need to accommodate all of the data in here into our cuisine hash map and the food hash map, and then like we need to go through all of the foods, for example, and then for each one, yeah, so here like we have the food, um, and then we have the cuisine, we have the rate, and so here what is that? That is like that is the food I, right? That is a cuisine I, and then this one that would be the ratings I. Okay, so for this like we can for the food hash map, and then we just need to simply replace this by we just need to update it, because like for the food hash map we always want to get the up-to-date data. So here like we food hash map of the food that would be equal to cuisine and the rate, right? So okay, so for now we will update the cuisine hash map, and this one is the most complicated things in here, right? Okay, so for this what should we do? So if the cuisine that is not in the hash map, and then so we get the cuisine of the hash map of the cuisine, and then so here like we will initiate with the value of the rates, that is the rates, and then for the rate we will get the minus rate, right? And then for each rate, and then we will initialize with the new heap. This one is the for our first max heap, and this one is our like yeah, this one is the one max heap, and this one is the min heap, because like we need to return the smallest like lexicographical name, and this one would be the food. Okay, so for now we can have the data. So for now we just need to heapify. I means like yeah, make this one become the heap. So that is the cuisine of the rates, and then so this one, yeah, we just convert this one into the max heap, and secondly we will convert this one into the min heap. This one that would be the rate, right? That is the rate. Okay, what if the data is yeah, what if we have already has the Korean or Japanese, for example, in our hash map, and then like we just need to push the data in, right? And then we can hit push, and with this one we can have push into the cuisine, right? Because if it is has already in the hash map, and then like yeah, and then so we update the rates. For here we update the rates with the minus rate, right? This one is the max heap, and then so if the what if the rate is not in the self dot cuisine of hash map of the cuisine, right? It means that like in here you need to remember that like in here we also have the another hash map, right? This hash map, and then inside it we have the rate. This is for the mapping in here, that is a number. What if this number is not in the hash map, and then like we need to update it? Yeah, so it means that like we have the self of like cuisine of hash map for the cuisine, and then the rate that would be equal to the food. And then in this case, because like we initialize new min heap, so we need to heapify it, right? So here we need to heapify it. Yeah, so yeah, we have already heapified it, converted it into the min heap. And what else? If it is already in, then we just push in, right? We just need to get the heap push, the this one redundant in here. yeah, we push it into this one, and with this one, and then we put the food in, right? We have the food. Okay, so I think that's all the things like for us to let's check. We just need to print the self dot food hash map, and then print the self dot the cuisine hash map, and then because in here that return the none value, we can return the none. However, in here we return the string, right? Okay, so redundancy, yeah, this one is like easy to get typos error. Okay, so in here, so you can see that like we can have it like yeah, we have the data structure we want, and for now we just need to update it. Indeed, the update step is like exactly in the else in here. The reason why I put the else in here, for example, like I worry that if like the kimchi in here for the first time, and then later in the array we have another kimchi, and then that is the reason why I put it here. However, like this one is exactly the things like how can we update it. Yeah, so so in here like for the cuisine, for I mean the change the rating, and then we can just like implement it like the cuisines, which would be like the self dot the food hash map of 0, right? Hash map of what, of the food, right? Because in here we the first element is the cuisine, so in here that would be like the cuisine in the first element, and then the rate here that would be the new rating. Yeah, so here like we, because we update, and then we need to update the food hash map as well, that is the food, and then that would be equal to exactly this one. So we just need to copy that. Yeah, so another thing is that like we need to get the, we just need to push the data into the rate by, because the in here like the cuisine has already exists. So yeah, they guarantee that like we just add new food or change the rating, but the cuisine is existed. And then so here like we just we can safely like just push it into the cuisine. Yeah, so here like yeah, I can just like copy this one, easy. Okay, we just have this step as the update. Okay, so yeah, so for now our challenge is from here, like the return the highest rate. However, like we have already hence the mechanism to resolve it. And yeah, so how can we implement it? So here like we can see that like firstly we just need to get like if we need, we will go through the cuisine in here first, right? We will go through the cuisine in here because we are given the cuisine, and then we just need to get this data. Yeah, so here like we will go through the cuisine hash map, and then of the cuisine of the rates first. Yeah, so because in here, for example, in here we want to get the max heap for the ratings here, this one. We expect to get the max heaps for the rating, so we will go through it and make sure that it is not empty. And then let's say that we have the proposed rate, because like the proposed rate in here, that would be the top element of the heap. For example, in this case that would be the minus 14. Yeah, that would be equal to the minus self dot cuisine of the hash mark, and then like we have the cuisine, and then we will access to the rates, and then because like that is the food. Okay, so in here like we get the proposed rate, right? And then in here that is the rate, and then we want to get the top of the heap, so that is the 0. We get the top of the heap, it means that we get the minus 14, and transform it into the 14th, right? So proposed rate in here, that would be the 14th at the moment. And if and so for now we will jump from the 14th from here, and then we will check the given mean heap for the name of the food. And in here, if we can get the self dot the cuisine hash map of the cuisine, right? And then here, because proposed rate, right? Proposed rate, so here this one is the proposed rate, right? And then here, like, we have the proposed rate, and then this one we are returning the ramen in here. Yeah, so this one we also get the top of the heap. No, this one is the heap. Okay, so for now we get the food, which is equal to the top of the heap, right? So it is the top of this mean heap, right? We get the 0. And then for now we will check that if this information is correct or not. If self of the food hash map 0, food hash map of the food, right? And the 0, if it is equal to cuisine, right? And what? And we have the self dot food hash map of the food, that is at the position, the first, I mean the second position. That is it, because like in here we store the cuisine and the rate, right? So for now we check the rate. That is the rate. That is the proposed rate, right? That's still proposed. Yeah, so if it is true, and then it means that we can just return the food. And then otherwise, what else? And then we just need to heap pop. It means that we pop the element, we remove it completely from the heap in here first. I mean the heap for the name of the food. Yeah, so we get the self.cuisine. Yeah, so this one first, right? We will remove it because this is not it is not true, that is incorrect data. And yeah, so what if what if the proposed rate is incorrect, for example, like if the proposed rate is incorrect, and then we need to remove it as well. So yeah, so for example, like in here we no longer have the value of the 14th, and then we also need to, because if it's not returned in here, and then we will remove the 14 as well, so we also need to remove the proposed rate. And then so that is the reason why we will heap pop again. We will heap pop this one, and then for now we will pop it out of the rate, right? Yeah, okay, so that is the implementation. Let's say run it. Okay, so I think that is correct. Let's submit. Okay, so I think that like this approach work. However, like this code is pretty long because like so many applications in my code, because I want to explain for you guys like in details. Yeah, so this problem is very interesting. For example, like furthermore, like in the future, if you see that like we have the blockchain system, for example, and in the blockchain system we have the ground truth data, that could be the food hash map in here, and then we have the downstream data of the client in here, and then they will receive the redundancy data. And then so like you can just compare with the ground truth data in here to remove the invalid data in the downstream. And then gradually it will be like the data in the client side will be clean and match with the data in the server. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's all the things for our today problem. And so for today problem, that is my, yeah, I nearly got like 1000 yeah, solved question. So yeah, thank you so much for watching my video. And if you like, and if you want to give me more motivations in the future, and please just give me a like or comments. and it is I must say that like it is one of the motivations for me to share my solutions to you guys. Yeah, so far that is very long journey for me. It is the 30 videos, and then I want to say thank you so much my subscribers, and yeah, thank you yeah, for watching my video. Yeah, so yeah, and see you next time.